We have here in the chamber today Ukrainian Canadian world veteran from the Second World War who fought the Ukrainian independence against the Russians and continues to support the troops today, even at his age of 98.
I might just have to start every show with this to remind everyone for an eternity. Everyone in that room is stupid, and some of them are liars.
His name is Yaroslav Hunka. And I was going to say he's in the gallery, but I think you beat me to that. But I'm very proud to say that he is from North Bay and from my riding of Nipissing-Temiskaming. He's a Ukrainian hero, a Canadian hero, and we thank him for all his service. Thank you.
I want to replay this again because there's Christian Freeland standing up first to do it. I'm looking for Greg Ferguson here. Can't find him. Greg Ferguson, the new House Speaker who replaced this guy. I want to just actually let it play one more time because I think I just noticed something. I can keep going. There you go.
Let this soft mineral melt on.
No, bloody hell! I don't know what that is, and I don't want to see it. Oh, another ad.
A lot of people think that in order to conceal carry...
Okay, I want to just play it for 1 second because I think I just noticed something. Remember Anthony Rota's excuse, or at least Justin Trudeau's excuse, was that he was an invitee by Anthony Rota and it's his fault and his fault alone, being this guy who had to resign and got replaced by Greg Fergus, ethics-breaching, liberal political trash, just like all the other liberals out there. Look at his face when he announces the guest. He looks surprised.
We have here in the chamber today Ukrainian Canadian world veteran from the Second World War.
I'm telling you, he's reading something that he didn't write, and it comes out as a surprise to him. He's not reading something that he wrote because he's struggling to read it.
We have here in the chamber today Ukrainian Canadian world veteran from the Second World War.
Surprising to me.
Fought.
Anyhow, it's all bullshit. We all knew that Rota was merely the fall guy. He was not the guy that was responsible for it. There can be no shame where there is no pride, and there is no pride in Canadian Parliament anymore. So there can be no shame, but shame on all of those dirty, rotten scoundrels. Okay, short notice stream again. I like to say short and sweet are the notices, much like Viva Fry. We're going to talk about... Look, I had the ordinary stuff on the schedule. There's been an arrest of the suspect in the... I forget the guy's name who got stabbed to death in Brooklyn. Carson? I forget his name, and I don't mean to be disrespectful. I just can't remember names. There's been an update in that. And there's some other equally interesting details in that story as relates to a GoFundMe that has been set up. So we're going to talk about that afterwards. Or at least that was one of the three subjects that I planned to talk about today. The second of the three subjects... I'm scouring the internet for Letitias James quotes from the past. We're going to talk a little update, the daily updates in Trump's New York trial in front of Judge Engoron, the man who has every tool under his belt to allow him to come to whatever judgment he wants based on his own emotions and biases. Ryan Carson, thank you very much, Holly Carp. We're going to talk about the updates in that trial, and I'm just pulling up clips of Letitias James from years past, where she has been hell-bent on finding the crime of the man that she has been shown, that being Donald Trump. Third subject is actually an excuse to talk about the guest I'm going to have Saturday. I'm going to have Saifullah Khan, who is the Yale student, and I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. I asked him just to make sure how I pronunciate it, as Barnes would say. I'm going to have him on Saturday. This is the Yale student who was falsely accused of the most egregious type of sexual assault. What ended up happening in that story? He was ultimately... Yale conducted a joke insult of a kangaroo court hearing into it. He was ultimately acquitted, and then he sued the accuser and Yale for defamation, and I think it got tossed and then it got reinstated, or he's been allowed to proceed on his defamation lawsuit on the basis that Yale's investigation was nothing more than as much of a setup and a frame job as Letitias James working in concert with Judge Engeron. So we're going to cover that story just briefly to do the update on it, because he's going to be on Saturday at 5 o'clock to talk about his ordeal and what's going on. But then, as I'm thinking about this, I was, drawn back to a video that I saw yesterday that I retweeted, and I'm like, holy crap, I know the guy that shot that video. I met him during the Ottawa protest. I'm going to reach out to him and see if he can come on and talk about the video, because there's a video of police. I made a joke. Police being police. Justin Trudeau's Gestapo. And I made a joke that these police are kneeling on a guy, tasing him in the back when there's no resisting arrest, pointing the taser at the crowd like a bunch of idiots, like a bunch of maniacs. And I said, are they going to give these two gentlemen a standing ovation in Parliament? Because that seems to be what they do for SS soldiers. Bada bing, bada boom. So before I get going, let me just make sure that we are, in fact, currently live and successfully so everywhere. We're on Rumble. Good. We're on Rumble. Let me just put on pause again. Thank God Viva's on. Alex Jones. Okay, I'm not reading the edit. Yes, don't thank God that I'm on, but yeah, it's good to be on. I was going to be on earlier, but I was trying to clear my mind. Didn't really work. All right, so that we're live on Rumble. We're live on Locals. And for everybody who doesn't know how this works, start on YouTube and Rumble, end on YouTube early. We're going to end on YouTube after we interview Chris Dace from Dace Media, who's going to explain what the hell's going on in Canada after we watch this video. Good to go to Rumble, do the other stories, end on Rumble, go over to Locals and have a little Locals after party. That is it. Okay, now, I'm going to bring in Chris. You ready, Chris? All right. If you don't know him, you're going to know him now. Chris, sir, how goes the battle?
It goes, man. It's always interesting here in Ottawa. We've run into each other a couple of times here, so you might know a little bit about it.
Well, no, for sure, man. So I wasn't, when I saw the video, I could recognize your voice. We ran into each other repeatedly throughout the Ottawa protest. You were one of the men on the ground, one of the people on the ground doing the live streaming. I know nothing about you. Can I ask you a few questions before we get started?
Yeah, go nuts.
So who are you, and tell it to the world?
Yeah, okay. So I'm Chris Dacey. I'm from Ottawa. I was born and raised here. Before all this, or before COVID, I was a carpenter for most of my life. I was living downtown Ottawa for about a year before the convoy came in. Long backstory there, but I kind of got stuck downtown and didn't know what was going to come next. And then this happened, and I've been kind of on the ground and started filming and filling a vacuum when everyone kind of left after the convoy, and I haven't stopped.
You are. I'm gonna bring up the video, but not to watch it just yet. I just want to put it on pause and then take it out of the backdrop. You are what Elon Musk refers to as a street journalist. You started doing that during the convoy, just hitting the streets and recording in real time.
Yeah. I mean, I've always been interested in photography, and I've always kind of taken pictures and recorded what's around me, but never for really anything in particular. Then during the convoy, I went out and kind of did that with purpose. And I ran into you. That helped give me a little boost probably. And I kind of ended up in a unique position where I ended up with a following that would have been hard to grow maybe otherwise, and just been running with it, really.
Now, before I forget, and I'll ask you before we leave just to make sure that I get it out there. On Twitter, you are at Chris Dacey?
Yeah, at Chris Dacey, Dacey Media. So okay. I'm you can find me that way pretty much anyway.
DACEY Media. All right, we don't need to go into childhood this time. We'll do it the next time. So you've been doing the street documentation, street journalism since the Ottawa protest, the Ottawa convoy. Yeah. What's been going on lately? Like you were at the protest in Ottawa, Education, Not Indoctrination, at the beginning of the summer.
Yeah. That was a big one. A few weeks ago, it was probably around 10,000 people that ended up marching through Ottawa. So that was a big one. There's been ongoing protests pretty much daily to some degree ever since the convoy on Parliament Hill. Sometimes it's a few people, sometimes it's more, but there's always stuff going around here. And when Parliament's in session, I've managed to get pretty close to some politicians, and you can ask some questions, and I'm still getting my feet under me, but there's a lot of stuff to do here.
I wish I had actually had time to pull up some of your other good questions that you've asked members of Parliament. If you can pull some up, flip them to me in the private chat. We'll look at them. But this is the This is the one I say went viral. It went viral is such almost a degrading way of describing a shocking video. This is a video that you shot this.
No, okay. So no, I was here for all this. I didn't actually shoot this one. This was a woman's live. I know her quite well, so this was kind of one of the better angles I got right away.
Okay.
There was so much going on this day. So this was third or fourth incident of the day with Ottawa police. So there'd been one by the House of Commons.
But back it up even earlier. This day, what the heck? What's going on? What day of the week is this?
Yeah,
and what's the protest about?
Yeah, so this is, I don't know if you would have heard, but there's been a lot of talk about another convoy. So this thing called the East-West convoy. There's been all kinds of talk about it all over Canada. There wasn't a lot of information. In fact, Toronto got shut down a couple of times. They closed down the area around Queen's Park just because of rumors and whatnot. So basically this convoy, it's being called a nonvoy now, is a group of people from all over the country, like Freedom George Billings, Ron Clark, a few different people. And they've gathered outside of town, and their plan is to come in, or was to come in. There was a small number that went yesterday, and legally and lawfully protest, right? Come in on foot and protest by the House of Commons and by Parliament, and just so people that's not something you need to be scared about, and that should be, it shouldn't be a problem to go, walk down Wellington Street in the nation's capital and protest your government if you want to do that.
And it's a convoy-related protest, or is it about education? Is it about transgenderism, or is it about basically everything that's going wrong in Canada right now?
Yeah, I would say probably the latter. It's people that all these different groups and different individuals all kind of know each other, and it all stemmed from that one common shared experience, which was the Freedom Convoy. But these things have evolved into a lot more, and a lot of people have been looking and they're trying to figure out avenues to fight. Education over indoctrination seems to be one that really gets some traction, and it's bringing in all different kinds of people. That isn't their only specific goal, but they kind of go under the hashtag Save the Children. So,
Okay.
I mean, that's yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, no, I'm just going to bring it up again. So that this is an unorganized, or at least I don't want to say like unregistered. Did anyone apply for permits for this, or is this just a spontaneous people show up?
Yeah. So to use the words recently, I think it was Hamilton Police, anyways, an Ontario Police Force put out a tweet about unsanctioned gatherings. Like is that a thing now that we need to sanction all our gatherings?
Well, I'm pretty sure a protest is necessarily an unsanctioned gathering. I'm pretty sure, unless the Charter of Rights only meant, obtain a permit to protest, in which case it's not a right, it's a privilege, but okay. Well,
as my good friend Patriot Smoothie likes to say, no matter what a protest is a protest is a protest is a protest. And you don't need a permit to protest. If you want to go on Parliament Hill and use loudspeakers and things, then you need to deal with them. But if you're just in the street and want to protest and hold a sign or do whatever, I mean, that should be well within your legal right.
All right. So what day of the week did this occur on?
This was yesterday.
All right. And this was, I say, a disorganized convoy. Do you know how many you were on the streets as this happened?
Yes. Yeah. So I was there the whole day for all these various...
And what did the protest look like? How many people were there? Where was it? Were the streets closed off? If you can describe it.
No. I mean, it was I would call it a relatively small group. I'd say at most 100 would be pushing it at the very largest. It started out as kind of like 20 or 30 people.
Okay.
And just some flags, some signs, various signs. And at first it was at the House of Commons. Then it moved over to Parliament. That's right in front of Parliament.
Okay. And that is to say House of Commons. Parliament is right in the middle of Wellington. House of Commons
is just to the west. So that they sit now in the West Block, which if you're facing Parliament, it would be directly to your left.
Okay, fine. So
the doors come out, and there's a staircase that the MPs, except for Trudeau, basically go up and down these stairs, right? So if you want to be patient and wait for some people to come by, or you want to protest somebody, that's a very good place to do it.
Okay, and so there's maybe 100 people on. It's on Wellington. Okay, yeah, but it's on Wellington and on the sidewalks, I presume.
Yes. The street was open the whole time. No problem.
Okay. So now I'm going to play this through here. Do you know who this guy is?
Yeah. So this is a gentleman by the name of Billy Dalton. I may have identified him as a senior, and all that I'm hearing now he's 54. I'll try to confirm that. The point is he's not a young man. Wasn't trying to misrepresent the truth.
No, and from what I understand, has a history of heart condition or heart disease or heart attacks.
Yeah. So I got that directly from his partner.
Okay. And so I guess... I don't even what happened leading up to the image that we're seeing right now, but we're going to watch the video.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a few things. The only thing really that and I've talked to as many witnesses here as I can. I didn't even see anything really myself that led to this. It turns out there's somebody has basically like a DeWalt electric whimper snipper type thing, but it has a horn on the end instead. So it's kind of a loud horn. He may have honked this horn once, and then he walked into that intersection, and the police came from behind him and basically took him. And then that's kind of where the video starts.
I'm sorry. I was describing the image as though the screen was already up, and I forgot I didn't have it up.
Yeah. So,
right. So he at worst honked a horn on a bullhorn and gets tackled down. Is there a resisting leading up to this? Do they say stop?
No. There was no command. Like they went straight in from behind and went kind of hands on him. I don't think anyone heard any commands, and then he was taken down.
Did you capture any of it yourself on your own camera?
No.
Okay.
No.
So I'm going to play this now, and in proximity to this, I thought I heard your voice. Were you watching this?
Yeah, I'd be farther, quite a ways away.
Okay, so I'm going to press play.
When this first started. So yeah, so then I came. That's how I came and got all this video and stuff in the aftermath.
Okay, so I'm going to press play and maybe turn the volume down if it gets too loud. Hold on.
Do not do that. You're a fucking asshole. I bet you feel good. I bet you feel good.
He really is saying back the fuck up. Like that's what the cop is saying, pointing his taser at the. This is the. What's that? Oh, we're looking down at the cenotaph now, or no?
Yeah, kind of. Parliament is literally just off the left of the screen, and I don't know if you can see, but so the prongs of this weapon he's waving around, pointing at everyone frantically, are still stuck in this man's back.
It's not a contact taser. Okay, so look. Do you see the little finger that I have here?
Yeah. Okay. So
these are the cables running down where they've got the pins in his back, and they're I guess that makes it less lethal to point it at the crowd if the taser.
The other question I would have, I don't know a lot about these things, but how many times can they be discharged? Like if he just got wild with it, would he be zapping him again while pointing at the crowd? I don't know.
This is nuts. I'll keep playing this. Let's play this as 4 minutes, but we'll see if we get through the whole thing.
Back up. Go ahead. Back up. You're killing him. Stand behind me.
This is Canada, by the way. So.
I hope he does, because I'll sue the balls off of him. I will sue the balls off of him.
No, you won't.
This is forceful, man. Man, can you control him? He's just being brutal. He has no balls. Don't worry. You're lucky you didn't tase me, bud.
So if you wait 1 second here.
Yep.
So as they take him away in cuffs, right before that, it's kind of relevant. So watch them as they're walking him slip. He also may have slipped during this whole thing in the initial occurrence. But watch these two. He slips again, and the officer and him go barreling down. And from that interaction, there's a guy in behind that the agitated officer turns to, and he ends up getting arrested as well. So a second person gets arrested.
So lucky you didn't tase me. Yeah. Big man on campus. Oh. Huh. Well, that's karma. He didn't do anything, man. Yeah.
Are they accusing him of having put oil on the ground or something?
Yeah, or having something to do with it. The guy that fell, I guess, was just so upset and had somebody to blame. But it looks there, if you can see those shadows, it looks like something with water came through there. And anybody who's ever been on a wet crosswalk would know it's pretty slippery. That guy certainly didn't do it.
Well, here, I'll turn the volume down and we'll just play this as we go through. So who's the guy that's going to get arrested? This guy right now?
Yes, this guy here, yeah. So here comes another taser, by the way.
I will politely go, but please don't.
That's a taser. That's not a firearm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on, they were peaceful.
And the police here, are they RCMP or are they OPP?
Everybody back up.
OPS, Ottawa Police Service.
Okay.
No, don't hit him, sir. Just back up. You back up, sir. Okay, let's save yourself.
Back up.
He's not allowed to touch you, but I don't want you to get hurt, babe. Okay? I know.
Is this just going on day in and day out in Ottawa now? Like
No. So that's kind of tails off here, but
okay. And then there was
there's a bunch more interactions there, but it's kind of just nonsense interactions. Not that they're okay, but so normally, like for instance, these are all, I'm not a legal expert, but But generally what happens here is that a bylaw related offense, they initiate contact with some type of bylaw issue. And then it always escalates into this. So in this case, it was a horn, which would be a violation of a noise bylaw.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no contact. It wasn't a bylaw officer. Like, officers went in and grabbed him. And then it ends up escalating into these criminal charges. I mean, he's facing 2 criminal charges now. And on top of these criminal charges, the people that get caught this way are also banned for 500 meters around the area, which is essentially revoking their ability to protest. And so I guess back to your point, sorry, about if it's regular. It happens sometimes, but very rarely. So normally every single day of the week, the guy down there got a fine yesterday for $1,000, but he's down there every single day with a megaphone and speaker, and he doesn't get tackled. He doesn't get bylaw tickets. There's groups of people that go around with megaphones. There was people with megaphones heckling Tamara Litch and Chris Barber recently at their trials. So,
well, that's actually was one of my other questions. Were there any counter protesters? Anyone from the other side?
There was 2 of them kind of present at a few times during this, but they weren't being a problem. The problem came from police.
OPS, Ottawa Police Services, not Ontario Provincial Police, and not the RCMP. This is the update that you retweeted, which is update. Billy Dalton is back home after being tased. And they tased him more than once. He's had 2 previous heart attacks. His wife vocally informed the police of his medical condition. He was not resisting arrest, nor did he initiate the confrontation. Man, so that's it. Have you heard any other word from him?
Yeah. So that's a good friend of mine, Patriot Smoothie. Follow him too if you guys don't. So I got that info yesterday. I've spoken to his partner today. I haven't talked to him directly yet today. He's in rough shape. He's having a lot of trouble moving around, and he's pretty sore. But I mean, he's okay, relatively speaking. He was released last night, not too long later.
Released from jail or from the hospital?
Yeah, from jail, as far as I know.
Okay. And then
but I haven't talked to him yet, so maybe that's just speculation.
It's unbelievable. I mean, it's like now it's the status quo, the standard operating procedure for dealing with protesters Wellington, in the capital.
Dealing with the wrong kind of protesters, right? Because if people who follow me will have seen, there's groups of protesters who are allowed to come down the entire street. They can have noisemakers of any variety, blasting speakers. They can have electronic whistles, and they will come in escorted by police. We've seen the unions with propped up by Jag Meat, rah, and march around the hill. And I have video of them blockading a bridge into Quebec. So it really is very dependent on who you are.
You did ask a parliamentarian, I'll call it a provocative question. I forget who it was, and I forget what the question was, but I know that I saw it and heard it.
I've asked a few.
I'm scrolling through your timeline to see one of the classics that I can show. Yeah. But there's the big news. Oh, by the way, what kind of dog? You have a dog also, right?
I lost her a little while back. Actually, she got hit by a car.
In Ottawa?
I did. No, I took a trip to the East Coast, and she got it under the fence.
Okay, that's traumatic. I'm sorry.
She was an Australian Shepherd, Vivi. Yeah, a lot of people would miss her that know me. We all miss her, but she was a wonderful dog. We had a good run.
I'm sorry about that.
That's actually very kind of you to know and ask about it. But yeah.
No, because there's a few things I remember, like I said, like bikes, kids, and dogs. But
she was a memorable one too. Yeah.
So what? And now, okay. So this is good. So are there other protests over the weekend scheduled, or like how does it work for you?
So it's not so much that it's like big protest schedule, but yeah, there's going to be a presence in different areas from various people, right? So it's not like there's not a big group with like this master plan or anything. It's just people that want to protest, and they're going to come in groups. It's not cars or anything, so it shouldn't be a problem. But I don't think people are just going to stand by and give up their right to protest because of what happened yesterday. I do think that we need to be very careful about how we do things. I've always thought that. But, in some of those interactions that we watched, there's just a lot of yelling and screaming. And some of these things, they don't help.
Have you, from your end, had any problems either from what you did during the Ottawa convoy, donations, or any run-ins with the police?
Yeah, I mean, I've had some close instances with the police after the convoy.
We're live, by the way, Chris.
after the convoy, I called out at the time acting Chief Bell, on a live, and I went back to my place, and a couple of minutes later, I got a bang on my door.
By the
And there was
cops.
two OPS officers for a wellness check. But so I mean, that was actually one of the most. I was there through the police movement, and that honestly shook me more than almost probably everything that I saw.
Well,
To know that,
it's better a wellness check than a swatting. I mean, I think in America,
yeah,
the
for
wellness
sure,
checks
for
are
sure. There was a
really
good, I mean, and there was a good officer that came, and luckily, we had a talk, and he kind of did care, but it was a pretty disconcerting thing. Since then, there's been a few times where I've been pushed around by the police and been up against a cruiser and tossed around a little bit, but nothing terrible. I've been, I was traumatized pretty bad, and my whole life, I had a healthy respect for law enforcement, I would say, and that was destroyed in Ottawa, and it took a long time to just get over the shock and trauma initially, and I've been trying really hard to rehumanize police and develop relationships. And I think some of us were getting there in some ways. And incidents like yesterday really they destroy that.
I remember being so wet behind the ears and naive that I said when Artur Pawlowski referred to them as Gestapo and Nazis, like, oh, that rhetoric might have been over the top. I mean, there's no other way you wouldn't describe them as
maybe.
Nazis. You see the way these guys, they're like a neon and elderly guy pointing their tasers like a bunch of frantic idiots, like they're under January 6th attack in their own minds. It's crazy.
And maybe they are. Maybe they are. There's a lot of rhetoric out there, and there's been a lot of talk about people that may be coming to Ottawa and insinuations that they're dangerous and they have terrible motives and all this stuff. And there's been an increased police presence, an obvious police presence all around Ottawa. So a huge amount of resources going to visually, I don't know, deter people from lawful protest. I don't know. I hate to say it's unbelievable because anything's believable at this point, but it's not anything I thought would ever be possible in Canada. And this is directly in front of Parliament, directly in front.
Chris, I'm watching it from Florida, and I'm listening to what people who are paying attention to it here are saying of Canada. No, it's like nobody regards Canada as a free, beautiful country anymore. Everybody down here says, "Holy shit, that's coming down south." And we need to keep an eye out in terms of what's going on up there. Trudeau's a joke. It's a police state. Censorship left, right, and center, and now it's gone through legislation. There's nobody down here that looks at Canada with admiration anymore. Maybe it's my milieu.
In the world could be the case.
So you're going to keep on keeping on. You're on Twitter. Have you started? I mean, you're able to make a living doing this? Is this sustainable yet or no?
Not really. No. I mean, it's starting to be somewhat. I brought in a few. I didn't try to bring in donations or monetize for a very long time. It was only recently when I really decided to start focusing on this, more professionally and completely. I've always been all in, but so I'm still figuring out that process. There's a few things, but because of the content and what I do, it's a really, really difficult thing to at least monetize the socials anyways. Every time I get off restriction, I'm suddenly banned again. It's a difficult thing to navigate. Plus, I got into this completely unprepared or untrained, right? So it's a steep learning curve. I don't have all the logistics in behind me yet that I need.
Who was it that said, someone in the chat's going to get it, life is about jumping off cliffs and growing wings on your way down. So you're growing your wings, Chris. I mean, it's amazing. It's the world needs this. And, I say the rumbles of the world, the locals of the world have allowed people to, make a living doing it. So people can't do it for nothing and they can't give away their time all the time. But Twitter's also, helping out a little bit as well. So do you have any big event planned for the future? Like, is there a known protest somewhere that you're going to head out to?
So there's going to be, from what the scuttlebutt is, October 21st, I believe, it's a Saturday, is going to be another march. So for children. In
Ottawa.
So in Ottawa. I don't know about the rest of the country, but for sure in Ottawa, some of the same. It started from a group of Muslim people that we connected with. So they're kind of spearheading this one, I think. But I was heavily involved in planning and trying to facilitate different things in the first one. So it should be interesting to see if we can repeat that on a weekend maybe and get more families out and have another fantastic event.
All right, amazing. So Chris, we'll be in touch and maybe you can be the American. What do they call them? Not protege. It has an E at the end of it. E accent aigu. Someone who's on the street. Oh, the word for someone who's on.
You're the one from Quebec, right?
Yeah, I know. I can't remember it anymore. It's not a protege. It's not a communique. It's the reporter who's on the ground. Anyhow,
I'll do it, whatever it is.
now I'm looking to see if anyone in the chat's going to get it. Anyways, I'm going to put your links up there, Chris. Thank you very much for giving some context to that. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. We're looking at a militarized police in real time, literally assaulting and abusing citizens who are, by all accounts, I mean, if I don't know what degree of violence would be required in order, in my mind, to justify that response, but sure as hell wasn't that. So, Chris, thank you very much. We'll keep in touch.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, pleasure. Have a good one.
Bye.
All right, everyone else out there, now, Corn Pop, I can see you. Let me see here. The link to Rumble. I like Chris. I remember running into him during the protest, and we were always like hanging out in the same spots. Correspondent. That might have been the word, actually. What the hell am I thinking of with the accent aigu? Come on, Viva, get your stuff together. Yeah, get out of the U.S. before it's too late. At some point, if the U.S., I mean, this is the internal discussion I've been having. Get out of Canada before it's too late. Get out of the U.S. If the U.S. falls, I mean, that is the last bastion of freedom on earth. Then you're just picking like, okay, well, am I going to be better off in Poland or Russia in terms of avoiding communism or the Western form of communism? Dude should start a Patreon. Patreon's the wrong way to go, Evil Fandango. I'm going to tell Chris he should start a Locals because that is the Patreon without the politics. And it's exponentially better functionally than Patreon. Patreon is the go F me to video hosting platforms, whatever the hell they call it. All right, so now what we're going to do, we're going to go on over to Rumble. So let me just do the get your butts to Rumble. And the link is there. And we're going to end this on YouTube, and we're going to get into the other stories of the day. And I'm going to finish my Celsius. Hashtag still not. Would I accept, I mean, even if I had the option, would I accept a sponsor from Celsius? I use it. Thus far, it's been working to burn fat. All right, we're going to end on YouTube, everybody. Come on over to Rumble, and then we're going to go over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Hold on. See, I got to get better. I got to get better at actually plugging my own stuff here. If you want to support and you don't want to give a super chat, you don't want to support YouTube, and I don't know, you don't want to give Rumble Rant, or you don't want to sign up for the $7 a month, $70 a year on vivabarneslaw.locals.com, go get some awesome merch. But maybe you don't want to have your own Wanted for President mugshot shot glass. I don't have the mug here. And you want something apolitical, neutral, you can go get the We Are Here shirt, above average. I love this one. You're above average, although I don't know why it only tapers off at 150. I like to think my IQ is much higher. And then we got all the other merch. Bumper stickers, fun stuff. Here, let's just see what we got here. Bumper sticker. You got taxation isn't theft, it's armed robbery. That was my expression. I think I created that. We'll be wild. Politics ruins everything. The classic. All right, now we're going to end it now that I've shamelessly self-promoted my own merch, our own merch, ending on